that track 2 or track 1?
That was 2.
Okay, I just want to make sure. Because if it's track 1, it's a high key. Good morning. We're very privileged to have some of the residents from the Benjamin House this morning who's going to share some music with us, in addition to in addition to the other course of events that are going to happen through chapel. And I just wanted to go ahead and let you guys know and remind you that the whole thing about the Benjamin House began with the dreams of a mother a while back. This actual Benjamin House itself started in February of 2006, and now it has 12 residents there, and that's their max capacity. Originally, Ben was the first special ed student who was come on campus here back in 1997, if I have that correct, yeah? Mm-hmm. And since then, he's brought some friends, and we have been blessed. And we're glad to have them this morning, and just lend your hearts, open them, and invite what they have to share with you in.
Thank you. Like to that's part of RBC. Lord, I live in your high. Lord, the sea of praises. I surrender in my life. I surrender in the save us. You Benjamin House residents and all staff that helped me sing Amazing Grace.
Okay, Aaron. Come on.
Amen. thank you. Thank you coming to RBC, and yeah, I'm glad y'all come, and that's it.
Let's pray, guys. Gracious Lord, how merciful you are, how loving you are, that you should pour out so much grace upon us, folks who certainly don't deserve it by any means, who, despite all of our good intentions at times, will never possibly live up to the standards that you set, Lord. It's this grace that we rejoice over and that we applaud. And we thank you that we can detect and notice your grace in the lives of various people that we should encounter. Through the lives of various students here, through the lives of professors, through administration, through just the various people that we encounter here at RBC. And definitely we want to take the time to thank you for the grace that you have lavishly poured out on us through our friends from the Benjamin House. It's their presence a lot of times that your grace is evident here on this campus. And we thank you. We praise you. We lift your name on high, just like they just sang. And we ask you to be with every heart here in this place, that as it hears your word and as it exits this chapel into the rest of the day, that they will be open to what you have to teach them through classes and through life experiences and through your word on a daily basis. It's in Jesus' holy name we pray. Amen. One of the many favorite verses that Jesus spoke in Scripture, one of his many sayings that people throughout the ages like a whole lot and label as one of their favorite, comes from Matthew chapter 11, verses 28 through 30. There he says, "Come to me, all you who are weary and burdened, and I will give you rest. Take my yoke upon you and learn from me, for I am gentle and humble in heart, and you will find rest for your souls. For my yoke is easy and my burden is light." We know that Jesus was a Jewish rabbi. Okay? And that by yoke, he was referring to his body of teaching. Now, unlike other Jewish rabbis, the burden of his teaching was not virtually impossible, and he practiced all of what he preached. He provided rest from the Judaic system of law-keeping that burdened and beat down the Jews. But we also want to, when we read this verse, we want to look at the fact that the burdens that people were facing were not simply from the attempts of trying to keep the law. They were burdens like you and I face. It doesn't take but 1 or 2 days here in class to hear of the strife and the troubles that we in this world face and encounter. It's going to happen. As one writer put it, we are spiritual beings experiencing a physical reality. And because of that fact, we have dissension among family members, where family members are divided and hearts are broken and relationships are torn. And we have terrible car wrecks where, like a young girl who was here a while back at Oasis who had her father either seriously injured or either taken from her completely in a car wreck while she was on her way here or while she was here. We have recently mourned the loss of parents. Faculty members have experienced hardship this year with that. And there's just so much. Even without it being physical calamity, think of the emotional struggle that goes on under the surface that a lot of times we don't talk about. It's this time of year when, for many students, it can be the most barren, it can be the most trying. I'm not trying to just direct our attention to the bad things in life. I'm not trying to bum you out here at chapel today. I just want to draw attention to what else it is that Jesus is talking about in this verse that He is going to provide rest from eventually one day. The burdens that we face now, that we can eventually throw off, that He helps us to throw off. As He says there in verses 28 through 30, "Come to me, all you who are weary and burdened, and I will give you rest. You will find rest for your souls, for my yoke is easy and my burden is light." Just the other day, or yesterday as a matter of fact, in our prophets class, we were going through the book of Hosea, where Hosea refers to the yoke that God has placed on Ephraim. And for a long time it's been the yoke that God placed on the northern kingdom of Israel for a long time was a light yoke. It was an easy yoke. It fit their necks, the way a farmer's yoke would fit the neck of his ox. It would not cause irritation. It would not cause be overly fatigued. But he was getting ready to place a heavy yoke upon their neck because they had disobeyed. But as many of the prophets always proclaimed, he proclaimed a message of restoration eventually. And the ultimate restoration that we all have to look forward to is recorded in 2 Corinthians chapter 4 through chapter 5, which I'd like to read to you. Starting in verse 16 of chapter 4, Paul writes, "Therefore we do not lose heart. Though outwardly we are wasting away, yet inwardly we are being renewed day by day. For our light and momentary troubles are achieving for us an eternal glory that far outweighs them all. So we fix our eyes not on what is seen, but on what is unseen. For what is seen is temporary, but what is unseen is eternal." Continuing in chapter 5, Paul writes, "Now we know that if the earthly tent we live in is destroyed, we have a building from God, an eternal house in heaven, not built by human hands. Meanwhile we groan, longing to be clothed with our heavenly dwelling, because when we are clothed, we will not be found naked. For while we are in this tent, we groan and are burdened, because we do not wish to be unclothed, but to be clothed with our heavenly dwelling, so that what is mortal may be swallowed up by life." Elsewhere in Scripture, it speaks about the fact that not only do we, His people, groan and anticipate that day when we can throw off this physical, earthly dwelling and put on the heavenly one that's eternal, but it also speaks about the corrupted creation in which we live in, just yearning for that day to be purified. Like I said, I don't mean to bum you out here today. What I simply want to do is hopefully refocus your attention on our ultimate destination. We're not home here. We're home when we're totally with God, in fellowship with Him. And I know that just like me, many of you experience heartache, experience trials, very, very likely to a much greater degree than I have. And it is this time I would simply ask that you would take about 5 minutes, find somebody nearby or that you can put your eyes on, which is practically anybody, and take the time, about 5 minutes, to simply pray with them and possibly confide just somewhat of an experienced hardship that you're facing. And even if you don't go into specific detail, just let them know maybe this is something that I would appreciate your prayers for. That would be my wish for this next 5 minutes. And if that's something that you don't feel like you can do with somebody else at this time, it would be simply cool just to do it by yourself for the next 5 minutes. That would be fine too. So as we take this 5 minutes of silence, either find somebody or go to God in prayer yourself and just share, pour out these things to Him, all the while rejoicing in the fact that we're going to be able to go home before too long. After the loss, the devastating loss of his brother-in-law, a close loved one, apparently they were close. And I know that many of you have possibly gone through that same thing, similar. And that you just don't know why and you can't figure out sometimes, but nevertheless, it only boosts and enhances the sense that you have that we're aliens and foreigners here, and that one day we'll get to rejoin. The name of the song is Homesick. You're in a better place, I've heard 1,000 times. And at least 1,000 times I rejoiced for you. But the reason why I'm broken, the reason why I cry, is how long must I wait to be with you? I close my eyes and I see your face. If home's where my heart is, then I'm out of place. Lord, won't you give me strength to make it through somehow? I've never been more homesick than now. I don't understand your ways. The reason why I wonder if I'll ever know. But even if you showed me, the hurt would be the same, 'cause I'm still here, so far away from home. I close my eyes and I see your face. If home's where my heart is, then I'm out of place. Lord, won't you give me strength to make it through somehow? I've never been more homesick than now. So I hold on to Jesus with all that